Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Last week's Torah portion. I hear myself down there, DJ, but not here. Perhaps Carlos can fix that. In last week's Torah portion, our ancestors were commanded to build a sanctuary. Va'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham. God instructs Moses, and you shall make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. So they brought gold and silver, linens and yarns, precious stones, every kind of adornment to construct that first portable shul that they could schlep through the wilderness. But as the Hebrew line hints, all that fancy stuff, all this, wasn't really what drew God close to them. It was to dwell among us, to sanctify the coming together of a community in common purpose and collective prayer. The sacred space was wherever the people came together. The sanctuary is right here for now, but it's also wherever we gather, sometimes in the garden or down in the library, or just recently with Daphna in Israel. The sanctuary is any space where we join. So this Shabbat, even in the midst of all of the tsuris that is going on in our world, pick a continent and go no further. We step away from all of it to form what Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel called a sanctuary in time, a little mikdash, to step away from all of it and take refuge in Shabbat. So we'll use this very Jewish Shaker hymn to help prepare us to enter that sanctuary, enter that spiritual place, and to let that sanctuary enter us.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Just as in this week's Torah portion, we are commanded to kindle flames to light that ner tamid, that eternal, ever-burning light. We are to kindle flames as we begin Shabbat The blessing can be found on page 120, and I'd love to invite up Minna to help us kindle these Sabbath lights.
We gave you the hardest job, Minna. We are the light, so it's hard to kindle. There it is. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shalom, and we rise for Kiddush, lifting a glass if you're at home, adding some sweetness to our Shabbat 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zicharon lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim.
L'chaim. You may be seated. We begin our service of Kabbalat Shabbat, inviting in those angels to bless us. Shalom Aleichem, page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלכי השרת, מלכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We're such a small crowd. I'm going to break the ice for a second. Oh, not that. Oh, darn it. I was going to do something connected to that. All right, I'm not going to break the ice. It'll just stay cold. But we are going to welcome the Sabbath bride into Shabbat. I was going to ask you know what? We'll still do it. I'm just going to change the question, which is, on Shabbat, we are supposed to think back over the last week. It's an opportunity to kind of collect ourselves and to think about what from the week we want to hold on to, what do we want to let go of, and in particular to lift up the good. So before we officially welcome in the Shabbat bride, something good that happened in your week. Anyone willing to share? I'll start because I knew I was going to ask that question. Originally a different one. So it was February break in our school district. So I got to spend a little extra time at home with my 3 kids, 2 of whom are here, and nobody was sick. It was like a miracle. And we played some board games and we did baking, and it was just the simple pleasures of being together. I'm going to carry that with me from the week. Anyone else have a moment? A good thing? Awesome. Where is he at school?
He's at Penn.
Very nice. Yeah, Nada.
I put birdseed in all of the window boxes in my terrace, and this whole family of doves has now adopted my terrace as their home. Of course, if I get close, they fly. I just love it.
Nada, you're a peacemaker.
Yes, may the doves find their way to all those places in the world that need them. Janice.
Well, one thing that's good is the week that I've been away to Florida to visit my cousins who live down there, and done, various kinds of activities.
Very nice. I hope you brought a little sunshine back with you from Florida for us.
Okay, I'll give a warm climate thing I'm holding on to. I was just in Mexico, and I was reminded of the phenomenal artistry of God, and that there are so many blues in this world. And when you go there, there's like 19 of them all in one view, and I'm in awe of that.
Oh, last one, Judith. Oh yeah, we did that too. Yeah. And then we got a cupcake after. It was a very exciting day. Still for one more.
I'm here.
Amen.
It's a big thing. I finally got here for services.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we're all right. That's the simplest prayer that we can offer is just thank you, God, for this moment. So we, in gratitude for all of the good things this week, we set the rest of it aside as we enter Shabbat, as we welcome that Sabbath bride, the Chadodi, page 138.
Yalla la 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 Chadodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 penei Shabbat nekabe, yalla la 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 Chadodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 penei Shabbat Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Hishmianu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi. Yalla la 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 likrat kala. Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat. Lechu v'nelcha. Ki mekor Merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techila. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi. Yalla la 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 likrat kala. Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumiori, uri uri, shir daberi. Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi. Yalla la 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 likrat kala. Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shalom, aterepala, gam besimcha uvtzola, tolchemune, am segula, boichala. Bowi chala, yalla la la lecha dodi, yalla la la likrat kala, yalla la la pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabe, yalla la la lecha dodi, yalla la la likrat kala, yalla la la pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
We take a moment to greet one another.
No, DJ gave me a sign to use the other one. I realized he didn't have music for Shir Hadash.
I was totally fine. I was going to do something new for your week. Instead, I just did something good for your week.
No, it was lovely. It was a lovely replacement.
not to break up the party, but we came to pray. Page 146, we remain standing for our call to worship.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
For those 19 shades of blue and so much more, we join together in the blessing on the top of page 149 for the gift of creation. Please join me. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And making ready for Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Beshirantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'sholchbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hoteiti etchem ve'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
On the bottom of 157, we share responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor ba'kodesh, Nohora tehilot, oh say, Peleh, Nohora tehilot, oh say, Peleh, Malchutecha, Ra'u banecha, Bukei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai, Yimloch, Le'olam, Va'ed, Adonai, Yimloch, Le'olam, Va'ed, Yadai, 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 Yadai,
A prayer for peace, the top of 161. We'll sing together this adaptation of the English.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Behamidenu, Shomreinu lechayim, Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We rise for our tefillah, the central standing prayer of our service, page 164.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Bezocher Chaste Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Bichamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. A poem from the new book just published by my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Evan Schultz. It's called God's Voicemail. Hey, God. Looks like I got your voicemail. Sorry I missed you. Just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you this morning. Must be tough to see the world in the condition it's in. Guessing all this isn't what you intended for us. But no, there's a lot of good people down here doing good things. They don't always make it on the news. I know you see them and cry for them and wish you could do more. Know that I still wake up every day and thank you for the world you created, even with all its messiness and violence. I still believe in it and see its beauty every morning. And I believe in all us humans to one day figure it out. I know you do too. Until then, we'll keep trying and keep hoping. Sending love. Shabbat Shalom, God. Talk to you soon. We take a couple of minutes of our own quiet prayer, either using the words of the book as our guide or just thinking about what's the voicemail we would leave for God this Shabbat.
Yehiyu liratzon imrefi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri vegoali Adonai tzuri vegoali Yehiyu liratzon imrefi Vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri vegoali Adonai tzuri vegoali Repeat after me. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai. Vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri vegoali Adonai tzuri vegoali
No doubt the meditations of many of our hearts are prayers for healing for those in our lives who are struggling, who are suffering of ailments, of body, mind, or spirit. We rise together as one community, holding one another in strength, joining together in the middle of page 371, offering this prayer for healing.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha li'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
This Shabbat, our Larchmont Temple family prays in particular for the healing of Jerry Gallner, Nancy Hanley, Pat Ryan, Marlo Wiggins, Stanley Tereski, Paul Wiggins, Dick Stone, Enid Elton, Andy Rosenthal, Dan Zimmerman, Joseph Spinelli, Jody Kahn, Samuel Phillip, Ariel Eden, Ian Spear, Joanne Tobin, Abby Zatoon, Barry Fenner, Gabriel Morse, Jeffrey Amder, Kristen Harris, Irv Cohen, June Foreman, Millie Marmer, Susan Frankel, Jack Blumenfrucht, Kira Rutman, Frank Fuzalori, Marion Froelich, Jackie Pearsall, Jill Rhodes, Joel Brill, Michael Murphy, Isabel Fenster, Paul Millman, Steve Gutman, and Rabbi Sarah Friedson. If you're thinking of someone in need of healing and feel comfortable sharing their name out loud, I invite you to do so as well.
Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. So a quick nugget of Torah. My plan was to come down and walk around. Now I'm tethered to this thing. But girls, can you help me? Yeah? Can you give one paper to each person? It's not child labor if it's the rabbi's kids, right? So this week's Torah portion, Parshat Tetzaveh, as I said earlier, continues with the instructions for the tabernacle, for that first original portable sanctuary, the Mishkan. And it continues with some of the particulars like the Ner Tamid, the eternal flame. We're going to study that in greater depth at Chevra Torah tomorrow morning. And then it gets into a kind of biblical fashion lesson as we turn to the special vestments that are to be designed and worn by the priests. And I wanted to share just a little of it tonight. So, is someone with a big voice willing to read from Exodus 28, verses 1 through 4, what our Parsha commands that these high priests are supposed to wear? I know you're not a shy crew. Nada, thank you.
Next, you shall instruct all who are skillful, whom I have endowed with the gift of skill, to make Aaron's vestments for consecrating him to serve me as priest. These are the vestments they are to make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a fringed tunic, a headdress, and a sash.
Rabbi Google makes it so easy to give you just, a visualization of what it might have looked like. This elaborate garb that the high priest wore might look familiar, it might not. Obviously, not just clergy, but all Jews can wear ritual garb now today. Judaism became obviously democratized after the destruction of the temple, but some elements of this priestly vestment actually endure. If you think about a crown and jingly golden balls or bells and pomegranates, who wears the vestments now? The Torah. That's exactly right. So the question is, what were these special clothes for? And in Hebrew, the Torah says, lechavod ultifaret. Sometimes it's translated as for dignity and splendor, or alternatively for honor and beauty. So Ibn Ezra, our 11th century Spanish commentator, says, they shall glorify themselves, the priest shall, with these garments, for no other Israelite shall wear similar garments. So why, in Ibn Ezra's mind, in the first sort of answer to this question, why does the high priest wear these special clothes? To do what? To differentiate him, right? Nobody else is walking around with pomegranates jingling on the bottom of their tunic or a headdress up to here. It is to make sure that when you walk into the Mishkan, you know exactly who the high priest is, right? So who are some people today that wear special vestments and we immediately can identify their leadership role? Who's someone who wears a special uniform or outfit? Judges, right? Policemen. My 7-year-old daughter. Pilots could, yeah. Firemen. I see at least a couple in the room, doctors, right? So part of it is so that everyone in the community knows this is an important person, this is someone with a leadership role. Okay, that's one answer. Flash forward several hundred years, Rabbi Jordan Cohen, contemporary rabbi, offers a different explanation. Carol Scharf, would you read for us? This is?
This is Hidur Mitzvah, the enhancement of the fulfillment of the mitzvah commandment through the adornment of the act. This is why we say Kiddush over fine wine in a beautiful cup rather than over juice in a paper cup. Both will fulfill the minimum requirement of the mitzvah, but by adding beauty, we add to the holiness of the act.
Right, so what's another reason perhaps? Hidur mitzvah, this Jewish value of taking a mitzvah, not just doing the bare minimum, but making it extra beautiful. So another good example is mezuzahs, right? We could, in theory, just stick a scroll onto our doorpost, but instead, what do? We encase it in something very beautiful that can be unique and designed and aesthetically pleasing. It's Hidur mitzvah. It's taking the mitzvah of really, it's the scroll that needs to be up there, but we make it embellished and extra beautiful. So the clothes are perhaps for the people. The clothes are perhaps for God, to please God. And the clothes, I think, are also for that individual themselves. Andrew, can you read Aviva Zornberg for us?
With pleasure. The high priest's vestments invested in anxiety no less than in glory. Ultimately, it is not only the clothing that is to be holy to God, but its wearer. If the dissonance between vestment and wearer is palpable, the trappings become hollow.
Right? So just like I imagine when a doctor puts on that white coat or the judge dons their robe, right? It's a moment of reminding themselves, too, what are their responsibilities, what are the sacred commitments that they've made. So, too, we might imagine for the priests. And there's two pieces of clothing in particular that have always fascinated me and that I was thinking about so much over the last couple of weeks. As you know, Daphna and I and 10 others from the temple were just in Israel on a short but very powerful solidarity mission. And I was thinking as we were getting closer to this portion about what's under the line here, which we're going to zero in just on two pieces of the priestly vestment. So, Michael Nathan, can you read for us about the lazuli stones?
Take 2 lazuli stones and engrave on them the names of the tribes of Israel, 6 of their names on the one stone, and names of the remaining 6 on the other stone, in the order of their birth. Attach 2 stones to the shoulder pieces of the ephod as stones for remembrance of the Israelite people, whose names Aaron shall carry upon his 2 shoulder pieces for remembrance before the Eternal.
You're doing great. Keep going.
Oh, great.
Take us home.
You shall make the breast piece of decision. It shall be squared and double, span in length and width. Set in it mounted stones in 4 rows of stones. They shall be framed with gold in their mountings. The stones shall correspond to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 corresponding to their names. They shall be engraved like seals, each with its name for the 12 tribes.
So these two pieces of the garment, one is very blingy and obvious, that chest plate with the 12 different colored gemstones. I skipped over all the specifics, but the Torah goes into great depth about each hue. One stone for each of the 12 tribes. And then, more subtle, these 2 avnei shoham, these 2 stones that sit literally on the shoulders of the high priest, inscribed with the names of the tribes. The metaphor doesn't need unpacking, but I'll just name it to be clear, right? He literally walks around with the weight of his people bearing down on his shoulders. It's powerful. It's heavy. And it's so much what I had going through my mind as we were traveling around Israel, and in particular, walking around, seeing soldiers all around us. Now, of course, this is not just a wartime thing. In Israel, it's compulsory military service. So pretty much everyone is a soldier at some point, but especially knowing what the country has been since October 7th, hearing stories personally from many, many young soldiers, as I watch them all, I just imagine that like that high priest, they're walking around with the weight of the people of Israel bearing down on their shoulders, and they're carrying it for all of us too. Just like we're supposed to wear tzitzit, these fringes, so that the mitzvot, the commandments, are always close to us. It's sort of the Jewish version of tying a string around your finger so you don't forget. The high priest was wearing literally the names of the people of Israel on his garments so that he shouldn't forget for a moment to whom he's responsible, who he needs to care for. And I acquired one new, garment, less of a garment, I guess, more of an accessory. But perhaps some of you have seen these dog tags around. Some of us have been wearing them for a while. I got to pick one up in Tel Aviv. They say various things. There are a few versions of them, but this one says, in Hebrew, Halev Shelanu Shavui Ba'aza. Our heart is captive in Gaza, and the bottom part in English, bring them home now. It is a necklace not just in solidarity of the hostages, but to remind us every day when we wear them that there are over 100 lives still hanging in the balance. It's easy, especially when you're not the high priest, to go about your ordinary life and to forget about some of the weight that our people is carrying. And so many of us bought these and brought some home. I might even have a few extra if anybody really wants one. You can also get them on the internet. But to remind ourselves that our people is bearing a great burden right now, and we need to be ones to find ways, even small ways, to help hold it up, to lift it up, to not forget, and to try to make it not anonymous either, right? Each of the names of the 12 tribes were written. We had a chance to sit with families of 3 of the hostages, the father actually of 2 sons, Eitan and Yair Horn, and the mother and girlfriend of another, Andrei Koslov, who was actually a security guard at Nova at the music festival, new immigrant to Israel from Russia. We sat with them, and suddenly it's not just names, and it's not even just faces. It's people. And so their names are resting on our shoulders or in our hearts with this necklace. May we find our own way, whether it's through one of these or some other gesture of connection, to carry them with us, at least until they, God willing, are returned from captivity. So I want to offer a prayer on behalf of those hostages. If you'll rise, we had a chance to share, in addition to a prayer in Hebrew that we offered, our mission gathered in a circle with the families of the hostages, and were able to speak these words directly to them. It was incredibly powerful as we share in them tonight too. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless, preserve, and protect the captives and missing soldiers of the citizens of Israel and the Israeli Defense Forces. May God rescue them from captivity and speedily restore them in peace in the merit of the prayers of this holy congregation who pray for them. May the Holy One, blessed be God, show them mercy, increase their strength, remove their pain, and send them a recovery of body and spirit. May God return them to the embrace of their families swiftly and soon, and let us all say, Amen.
Liotam chofshi
Time, you'll get to hear more reflections from hopefully everyone who participated in that trip from the Bima on the 22nd. But in the meantime, we turn to the concluding portion of our service. Aleinu L'Shaber can be found on 586. Miriam and Judith, you want to help me open the ark doors? Come on up.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tekedu la'liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
As we turn to 598 and prepare for Kaddish, we think of those names that we carry on our shoulders, in our hearts, perhaps in our own name. In particular, we are thinking of those who died in recent days, for whom a period of shloshim, of 30 days, continues to be observed. Inga Friedenbach, mother of Evelyn Sadler and Andres, and Mickey Friedenbach and Laura, grandmother of Eric, Veronica, Tobias, and Matthias. Alan T. Borbridge, husband of Norma, father of Gloria Kushel and Daniel, Bonnie and Paul, brother of 4, grandfather of 4. Louis Nidus, husband of Miriam, father of Daniel and Daphne. Benjamin, Melissa, grandfather of 3. Rex Rayfeld, husband of Ellen O'Brien, father of Dr. Andrew Rayfeld. Lori Altschuler, wife of Stanley, mother of Jessica Bornstein and David. Allison Davis and Benjamin, daughter of Murray Goldberg, sister of Erica and Alan, Elisa and Scott, grandmother of 5. Catherine Tansey, wife of Philip, mother of Ben and Charlotte, Nick and Zoe, Alex and Sam and Lily, daughter of Shirley, sister of Justine Tafe and Paul, as well as John, grandmother of 4 and aunt of 5. Maxine Mickey Wagner, mother of Lauren and Robert Myers and Margot, grandmother of 3, step-grandmother of 2, predeceased by her husband Jay. Dr. Ellie Gelman, wife of Eric, mother of Charles, Sophie, and Peter. We think too of the recent death of 2 IDF soldiers from Shachar Peled's unit, Gabriel Shani and Yuval Nir, killed in action in Gaza, dear friends of Shachar who came to speak to us just a few weeks ago. To their names, we link those for whom Yahrzeit is observed this week: Barbara Bobby Alterson, Max Day, Luisa Flores, Peter Gideon Gelblum, Alice Daniels, Norman S. Friedman, Rose Kolodny, Herbert Kupferberg, Daniel Goldstein, Nick Balinson, Beatrice Weintraub, Molly Lauterstein, Dorothy Elland, Marilyn Garber, Ruth Hauben, Alan Katzenstein, Joseph William Zerbib, Ruth Parter, Kalman Wiesenfeld, Edward Einhorn, Evan Glassberg, Hava Judith Gelblum, Hugh Baer, Mark Citron, Ofer Enoch, Henry Rand, Clara Shore, Judith Markowitz, Joseph Belial, Dina Sander Widman, Egon Roniger, Morris Weitzer, David Engelson, Nick Lavin, Stella Baumgart, Philip Simpson, Harriet S. Miller, Rita Federson, Molly Levenstam, Anna Macer, Hyman Levin, David Futterman, Isaac Cohen, Eleanor Koch, Sydney Zilberberg, Murray Weiss, and Kate Fox. If you are thinking of someone or saying Kaddish for someone whose name you didn't hear, I invite you to add their name as well. We carry those names here or here as we join together in Words of Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba. V'almad yivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayachon uv'yomachon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. V'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba v'vorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashah b'richu. La'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. V'yahei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories ever be for blessing. You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. I am Michael Nathan. I have the pleasure of saying I am the immediate past president of the temple, having served for 3 years. One of my friends who was president before me said those are the 3 sweetest words you'll know, the immediate past president. But I don't really mean that. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Rabbi Frankel, Cantor Orangel, David Judd, for leading us in such a beautiful service. And I'd like to thank this gentleman in the row here, because as we were introducing ourselves, we were talking about college. He asked me when I went to school and when I graduated from Penn. And I said 1978. And he said, "You look so young." Thank you. Just a few announcements. It's kind of a quiet weekend, but we have Hera Torah tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And then at 10:30, we have the Leiled Minyan. And then next week, it gets busy again. We have the scholar in residence, Rabbi Daniel Schiff. He will be talking about Reform 2055, a question of covenant, Judaism in the digital age. What does the future hold for Reform Judaism? And we'll have a program on Friday night at services, and then on Saturday morning at Hera Torah, and then I think on Sunday as well. There are more announcements that you can find in the email. Shabbat Shalom.
Yes, we're expecting standing room only next Friday night, so enjoy the space while you have it this evening. It should be a great weekend with our scholar in residence. I wanted to plug one more thing that we're slowly getting the word out more about, which is our new L'chaim program for life. It is a bi-weekly sort of lunch and learn community for our seniors. Define that however you want, but really anyone who has a daytime lunch hour free, the 2nd and 4th Thursday of every month. Each session is a different presentation or discussion or a sharing. There's coffee and nosh, and we've had upwards of 40 people each time since we started in January. So spread the word. Join us, bring a friend. The next one is March 14th. He highly recommended. See, I didn't even pay him to say that. Highly recommended.
On page 625, we find the words to Adon Olam, a little Tom from Israel.
Nash.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra leit nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shmo nikra ve'achari kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyeh b'tifara Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra leit nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shmo nikra Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra leit nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shmo nikra ve'hu echad ve'en sheni lehamshilo lehachbira Shabbat Shalom.